Alrighty folks, want to welcome you back to another video from Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. So this follows up on a little bit more of my presentations training section, and this is really about phishing. This one has really become a critical information that everybody should know, a kind of a dangerous subject right now. And this is not necessarily, go ahead and read this, this is not necessarily the only things people are out to try to get from you now. Now when they're phishing you, they may get part of your information. This has become pretty much $1 million industry to a lot of people, because what it is they're trying to get any information that they can and sell it. So all on the black market and other kind of marketplaces and other places to sell this information. Some of this information is kind of sold legitly to marketing companies, promoting companies, all of these things, to get simple things like maybe just as simple as your email address. So they'll send you an email hoping you'll respond to it, like, oh hey, this is Jackie from so and so, how are you doing? Hoping that you will respond. Just your response is enough for them to know this is a valid email. Once they know it's a valid email, what do they do with that information once they know it's a valid email? They may sell it to someone else saying this is a valid email. Then the next person will try to spam you and try to figure out who is at this email address, who is using this, what's your name, what, where you're at in the country or the world, what kind of information they can gather from this to put together in a database. Once they get a database on that email account, they can actually sell it. That is helpful for other people to phish you in other ways, to get your passwords, to get your credit cards, to get your social security, get all of these other things, get your phone number, so that they can start texting you and they can start sending other things to you other ways. This is what phishing is actually about. Phishing is the start of a lot of other things that go on. So make sure you read the definition or a description of what phishing actually is. Next, email phishing. This is actually to do with email itself. I've said in other videos and other places that phishing is very much the new modern type of thing that a lot of people do to collect your data, and this is really a starting point to a lot of things. A lot of bad things start from phishing. Email is really a bad, nasty thing. It's not a good thing. It's not like it used to be in the old days, that this was easier than doing mail. Yeah, it's easier and it's nicer than mail, but you got a lot of bad things that come along with it. Look at your traditional mail you get. Look at all the spam mail, junk mail, credit card stuff, all this junk you get in your mail. That is got a cost to do this. You have to pay for the paper, you have to pay for your design, you have to pay to print it, you have to pay for someone to put it in envelopes, you have to pay for the envelopes, you have to pay for the postage. So there's a huge cost to this, to send out 1,000 of those. Email's different. You have your original equipment, you have your template, whatever you designed, however you design that email to send out. Once you're ready to send that email out, you have it. You're done. You can send that out to 1 million people, and then another 1 million or 1 billion. You can keep sending that out over and over again. Now, what's the cost of you to do this? This is basically just your internet, whatever little bit of cost it costs for your power, your system that you're using, and all of that stuff. Modern tech, you can probably all do it from cell phones. But now they're trying to monitor how much people are sending out to know who's guilty of this type of stuff. So this is where the email stuff gets bad. Here's basically a definition of what it is and other things of information of that. I don't really need to go through that because this is a basic general description to give you a warning of everything. Necessarily, when you get your first email, it could be as simple as a credential, could be as simple as somebody wants your signature on your email, because when you respond, it has your signature on there. Makes it easy for someone to copy that. There's a lot of information and a lot of things people are out to get nowadays that make it so they can spoof or spam or out your email, something that looks like yours, because they collect that information because you reply to them. So there's a lot more information out there that these people actually collect so that they can do a lot of these other things. You can get, mostly it comes from financial and stuff like that to try to respond and all of that. But I can move on to the next slide and go into more detail because this is just an email. And I always tell people, remember, an email is a notification. An email is nothing else than a notification. It is nothing official. It is nothing important. And one of the things that I've heard that came up in one of the trainings that I saw and heard that was very a good phrase that I like that I'm going to use is, this is the time where speed kills. This is when speed can actually kill you and hurt you and hurt your system and affect a lot of things that happen. Because what happens is you get this email and it has a link on there from your financial institution or a bank or a utility saying, hey, you need to pay this bill, click this link. So you click that link and you try to log in because you're trying to be quick, you're trying to be fast, you're trying to be more productive at work. Do not do that. That's my recommendation. Do not ever take a link unless you know for sure somebody is sending you an email with a link to where you need to be. And you know that link should be good because this is the email you're waiting for with a link. If you already do your banking online and you already have a bookmark, shortcut, whatever to get there, close your email, close everything out, log into your site through a verified link that you have or shortcut you have that you know is good, and go to that site and see if that email or that message you got is actually legit and verify it. If you missed a payment, your bank will tell you you missed a payment. Your credit card will tell you you missed the payment. You can catch up that way. Then you can actually respond to it or just ignore it and delete it because you will know if that's legit. Don't take that link that's on there. Spear phishing. This is another attempt of phishing. This is actually a target against something. This is a more precise attack against an organization or a person. Where this kind of gets scary is, say you're a management, CEO, something of that sort, and you're in charge of a business. They may target you individually, not just your business or your business email. But they'll target your personal email, your family emails, your spouse's emails, all of those type of emails they will target. The reason why they target those emails is they want to learn your history. They want to learn about you, who you communicate to. So that way they can have a better chance of getting more information from you. As you can see down on the bottom, I have email, voicemail, text, another email logo. Because they will hit you with everything they can. They'll call and leave you voicemails. I've had spammers call me and leave me voicemails. You get voicemails. I'm sure you've got the voicemail that you have a warrant because of IRS or all these crazy things. Call me back at this number. These are all phishing attempts. These aren't basically only to email anymore. Now they'll send you text messages, leave you voicemails, send you emails. They'll do everything all at the same time. So this is why I kind of lumped this one all together, because if they're targeting a specific person and, you know, they send you an email, you respond, and you're a business, guess what? Sometimes, a lot of times, you have your business phone number on there, you have other contacts on there, your cell phone number. Guess what? They just got all that other information to keep sending more messages to you. Other ways to get to you to target you or your organization. So go ahead and make sure you read all of that type of stuff. And I'll move on to the next one. Cloning. This is why they want all your information. Go ahead and make sure you read all of that, understand what is going on. Because now they want to clone your email. They want to act like they're you so that they can reach out to your vendors, to your bank, your financials, to see what other people, your family members, your other people that you contact, what websites you've signed into, what sites you view, where you go, what photos you look at, what comments you post on other sites. They're interested in that information so that they can clone everything and look like you, so that they can interrupt and hurt other organizations or your organizations. So this is really one of those funny factors that a lot of people don't realize. That, yeah, they might collect all your information and might not affect your organization, or they might affect your organization by somebody else you know or you work with. So this is where this kind of factor comes in. So I wanted to go through that because the more and more I research and study and stuff and see, I see more of these things. I see more of this stuff. And I don't think a lot of people talk about any of this at all. So this is why I'm doing this video, is to go through a lot of this stuff and do a training. And again, I brought this up earlier. You got voicemails now that, you know, they call, leave you a message, send you a text, all these false claims. You can read all this information. It's funny how all of this stuff is. And then they can spoof numbers so you actually think somebody's calling you. You can actually think a credit card is calling you, your electric company is calling you. It will show you that information and not be correct. But again, you cannot absolutely verify any of these things. I consider all of this a notification. Someone calls you and notifies you of something. Oh, okay. You don't just pull out your credit card and give them a credit card number. You don't know who you're talking to on the other end. So this is really the information I'm trying to relay to people. You hear about all kinds of scams out there about how people call people and say so-and-so got into a hospital, got into a wreck, I need you to send me money so that we can take care of this and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. You know, there's all kinds of frauds and scams out there. So it might not be phishing for data. It might be phishing for credit cards, banks information, any kind of information. And that's the scariest part, because they might call you just to figure out who you are on that number. To figure out, oh, that's Mark Smith. Okay, cool. I can now list this advertisement or information out there to sell to someone else as this being Mark Smith's number, and he lives in New York on Main Street, because this is all the information you gave them on the phone. That is valuable information just for them to sell to someone else, who can then do other things to you to get more information and build a database and sell that information. So this is really where it's funny, because you hear these things about how people get calls to try to get their credit cards and get their information and figure out who or what is going on. Now, obviously, if they call you and tell you cousin so and so is in the hospital and they give you the town your cousin's in and all of that type of stuff, you got to really wonder what is kind of going on. This is really one of the points I don't hear a lot of people talk about. Obviously, you've been phished. Somebody's been phished. Somebody's given out a lot of information, if that information that someone relayed to you is correct. Because if that's your cousin, if that's the town he lives in, if that's the hospital in town, how did they get all that information? So this is really one of the concerns I always had when I hear those stories, is people are not aware of this information anymore. People have forgotten. So let's move on to the next slide. Here's the big one, the SMS. This is your text messages. This really seems to be kind of one of the big ones out there right now. Because, again, this is a notification. There is no verification on who sent you that text message. Who are you physically communicating with? You respond to that number, you don't know who's at that number. You don't know. It might be a number that one of your relatives had and someone else got that number, or someone else has spoofed it, or whatever. You don't know who you're responding to. Again, go ahead and read all of that. Most of that applies to all of that other stuff, your email, all of that stuff. They'll send you a text with a link. Oh, you are past due on your credit card. Click here to catch up on payment. Again, don't do that. Go to your credit card site, make that payment. If not, call your credit card. You have the phone number on the bill. You have things to verify that this message is legit, to make sure. And again, speed kills, speed hurts you. You want to be efficient, you want to be quick, you don't want to waste time. Well, you're going to fall into these little traps. You have to slow down and you have to verify these things. Again, because you don't know who that is that's actually contacting you at all. And me being considered, I consider myself a first generation computer user. New users out there are probably third or fourth generation that haven't been taught all this, haven't been relayed all this. And being a first generation, this stuff didn't really exist. Now all this stuff exists, plus more stuff. There's more stuff out there that's unbelievable. So you might not be aware of something like this because this is newer to you. All this new modern tech is causing more issues, causing more security risks, causing more problems. I've mentioned that on other videos. With the new technology, the modern tech. This is part of the modern tech. And people are capitalizing on it. They're using it. So most businesses, a lot of businesses now, because of COVID and all of that, are remote working, remote stuff. They come out, they do service calls, they use their phone only. They don't carry laptops anymore. They don't carry tablets. They don't carry any of that. They base it all off of the phone now. So that was one of the concerns that I thought, well, you know what? This really needs to be addressed. I see this, and I don't see anybody talking about it. Let me move on to the next slide. This is one I don't really deal with a lot. I haven't really heard too much about this, but I know it's out there. And again, this is somebody sending you an email, sending you a notification with a calendar link where you approve on a certain date you're going to do a certain thing, and a lot of times that's shared with someone else. This can be a scary factor because if someone sends you out a calendar invite for a meeting or go to a certain website in 3 weeks or a month from now and it's on your calendar, you may forget where you got that actual calendar event. Why did you add that? Who did you add that to? You open it up, you go to that link, you do what you're supposed to do, and then oops, you've been phished. You were directed to some other site, you've been, who knows what. So this is one of those attacks that are out there, but I don't think I've seen a whole lot of it. Personally, I haven't. I'm sure other people have, but I want to present this because this is a way that I think a lot of people will start abusing pretty soon. Once everybody starts catching all the other things, you're going to get caught here. And I believe that was the last one of my presentations for phishing. Let me double check. Yep. So that is my phishing presentation. I wanted to do a quick little slide on and go back to the basic. Again, phishing is not only email anymore. A lot of it used to be just email. They'd send you all this junk email and all of that. So I wanted to go through this, do a training, make sure everybody's aware of what phishing really is. What to be cautious of and be aware of so you don't have other things happen to your system. You don't want to get into a problem where you're getting ransomware, viruses, and other things sent to you because you're opening links to on your emails. You're doing things. You're looking at attachments. All of those type of things that will cause other issues so that the phishing will get worse until you have a data breach. That is one of the problems. And then you get into ransomware, you get into all kinds of other factors due to phishing because they get your credentials, they get your username, they get your password, they get all this other stuff by phishing you, and then you get the data breach. And that's something different than phishing. But most of that is generated from this. So again, I want to thank everybody for watching. I know it's kind of been short, and you're all welcome to share this presentation at work, show your coworkers, whatever you need to do, or what would really work out best for me is send them to my YouTube site. Have them subscribe, have them watch it there. I could use the views, I could use the subscriptions, but I give everybody rights and access to share this information and to show others, teach others. Let them know about my site also, about my YouTube channel, because there's a lot of training and a lot of information on there. So let me wrap this one up and thank everybody for watching, and stick around, see all my other trainings.